Hey, comic book fans, welcome back to Comic Book Corner 2.0. And fans, you're with me, Mike Spider Slayer, getting ready to bring you another countdown video. That's right, everybody. This is countdown number 60. This is a show where I count down the worst comic of the week, going all the way down to number 1. And this week we have 15 comics altogether, and 12 physical copies and 3 digital comics that I got to read this week. So with that being said, let's not waste any time and let's get started with the countdown, starting with number 15. That's right, guys, number 15. What was the low dog on the list? That was Madam Frankenstein. That's right, guys. It was a digital book that I actually read. This has been put out by Image Comics. This is written by Megan Levins, and Jamie S. Rich does the artwork. One of the things that I got to see out of this book, just based off of the cover, was, oh look, it's a tale about Madam Frankenstein, Frankenstein's bride, or whatever it is. I'm like, this could be like his horrific feel type of style. Well, when I opened up the book, I had no idea that it was going to be black and white, and it's a very simplistic art style. However, it was almost too simplistic, and I really didn't feel for it. And basically what happens is about this lady gets in the accident, and this scientist wants to basically bring the girl back to life. And she becomes what is Madam Frankenstein. And she comes back to life, and there really wasn't much else to the actual issue. You wind up finding out that she does live, and they kind of can't control her. She's out of control, and they try to give her a sedative, and she's just nuts. And I don't know. I just didn't find it really appealing. It's just the doctor's sitting there going, "Oh, there's certain elements about you, and but you don't remember who you are." Yeah, no shit. You got in a car accident. You got killed, and you got back to life by sewn together in pieces and everything. So it was just really weird, and I will not be checking out the next issue. I thought that if the artwork even had more elements like this in it, it would have been better too. I just didn't like the story here, so I thought I'd give it a stab at it because it was an issue 1. So we'll see where. Well, we're not going to see where it goes. So I gave it a 1.5 out of 5 stars. So moving on, we're going to go on to number 14. And number 14, unfortunately, is Scott Snyder and Sean Murphy's The Wake. This title has been slowly losing my interest and going on the decline for me. I really liked this series up to, I think it was issue number 6, or that halfway point, where it really had to do with Dr. Lee Archer and all the mermen and them being trapped underground. And ever since we've been into the future now, it's a future that I don't like. They throw a lot of government issues into it. We get to see that there's this specific message that's being heard, and Leeward wants to find out what this message is. And we find out that she comes aboard this these pirates that have a merman or mermen like submarine type of thing, or they made into a submarine thing. And we get to see in the issue that the government continues to be after her, and she has to make a decision if she wants to join all these people. And she winds up doing so in the end, because she wants to figure out where that message came from. And it's okay, but it's not what I was expecting when I got to the second half of the series. They're gonna find this message, and they're gonna find out how to save the world. And in the end, I guess that's what we're looking to see what happens as a reader. But again, this is not the future that I wanted. I wanted her to be in the future with dealing with these merman creatures, fighting them off, but not like in this water world type of environment. That's kind of like what this feels. It feels like almost like a blockbuster picture with this Waterworld element that has kind of gone wrong, and I don't like that feeling. And then that's just me as opinion. There could be other people out there that might think that this is great, but I think this has slowed down tremendously and has really lost my interest here. I'm going to see it through. I spent, $3, 8 issues, $24 on this series. I want to find out how it does end. But I like the first half of the series a lot better than I've had the second half of the series. And I'm going to give this a 2.5 out of 5 stars. All right, so moving forward, we have another digital book, and that is number 13 on the list. And number 13 on the list this week is, once it loads up, Revenge, issue number 3. Yeah, the first 2 issues I really loved. It does have that 90s type of feel where the guy just goes on a rampage and kills everybody, but he's after his porn star wife that all she wants is his money, and she tricked him into going into this plastic surgery. So it's this well thought of plan. But in this particular issue, nothing really happens that progresses the story. So that's where this story is lacking now. It's, okay, where do we go from here? Griffin Frank is the main character. He's the guy that got the face torn off of him, and now he's after complete revenge after his porn star wife. Now to keep him alive, he's worn a dog face on him, and he's trying to go after his wife. Meanwhile, his wife that wants all his money and everything that's in control winds up calling people that are actually working with her that will pay her people lots of money to go after and kill him. And there wasn't really much plot into this particular issue. We get family, past family and relatives fighting over his money, and his lawyer saying there's nothing I can do. All the money is kept to the wife. And then the rest of the issue, you really get to see Griffin Frank just go out and just kill people. He shoots lots of animals, lots of dogs. He goes swimming. You see him snort cocaine and crack because he doesn't want sedatives because of all the pain that he's in. And you get to see his little dwarf guy with little horns wind up, working with him. And by the time you get to the end of the issue, we get to see that he's trying to go after the guy that's wearing his face. And to be continued, we get to see that he winds up going into the this costume store, and they were selling like his old movie mask, so he winds up putting it on, and he's going to be called the Revenger, and he's going to be going after again the person that took over took his face off and wind up calling his daughter as well. So really weird stuff here. Again, there wasn't much progression in this issue. In a nutshell, it's just a lot of shooting, a lot of violence, some nudity in there, really unnecessary nudity, and this was the weakest out of all the issues this time around. And I will be continuing to reading it because it's, for some reason, it's entertaining, and so I'm giving that one 3 out of 5 stars, and that was number 13 on the list. All right, so moving forward, we're going to go to number 12. And number 12 is She-Hulk, issue number 4. Now, this issue is not bad, and this series is not bad. But even in my comic book haul, I've been asking people, how is the Hulk? Is the Hulk a better series than this? And some people give me answers saying that you kind of can't compare the two because they're totally different style of comic book. And the reason why I ask that is because I'm kind of not looking forward to, but I'm probably going to drop this series. This is a series where, yes, it has its humor, but the story is not there for me. I enjoy it, but it's not a story where I'm going to sit there and say every week while I'm going, God, I have to pick up She-Hulk, And I like She-Hulk back when she was a little bit more violent, a little bit more detail in the artwork, and not so much like FF style. And that's how this series reminds me of. You get to see her play the lawyer role in here, but it's too much of it. I want her, again, to do more action and more battle. You know, and I like Jennifer Walters as a character, but it's I need something more from her. I need something else. And in this issue, you get to see her meet up with Matt Murdock, trying to get some advice from Matt Murdock, and because she's trying to, you know, finish off that Christoph case or the Doctor Doom's son type of thing, and you know, to get him to come back to America and to go out of her way for her client. And that's part of being a superhero lawyer. You get to do more than the average lawyer would do. And I like seeing the interactions between Daredevil and Jennifer Walters. I thought there were some good moments there, some of the better moments in the series so far. I like when Jennifer is kind of just dressed up and she's herself. It's appealing, it's bright, it's flashy, different type of, you know, style paneling, which I do enjoy in that aspect. However, when the artwork comes time to for Jennifer to Hulk out and to go into action, this is when the artwork lags for me. You know, you see her go into battle against some Doombots. They're very primitive looking. There's not much to them. You get to see her again Hulk out. It's the same thing where, you know, her clothes rip in the exact same places. She gets this crazy facial expression. And, you know, in the end of the issue, you get to see her talk to Dr. Doom in a gigantic Doombot. And Doom agrees with, in the end, agrees with Jennifer taking his son over back to America to be his own person. So again, it is funny and entertaining in a way, and it's got its own distinct art style. But the issue is sitting there making me, you know, the book is making me spend, you know, $3 that I might enjoy some other titles better. And so that, with that being said, I'm probably going to drop it. And I gave this one a 3 out of 5 stars. Okay, so next. I mean, if I had the money to buy every single comic, that's a different story. But it's tough when you got to make certain cuts. All right, so next going forward, we're going to go on to number 11. And number 11 was New Warriors, issue number 4. I love this cover. This cover is great. I love the way Sun Girl is drawn here. Just real exaggerated goggles. I love that type of style of art there. So this is the conclusion to the first story arc of New Warriors. And this has to do with the High Evolutionary. And, you know, you get to see your New Warriors right from the get-go just battling all High Evolutionaries, warriors, and creatures. And you get to see them, you get to see the High Evolutionary build this structure that's supposedly going to destroy most of the people on the planet that are not perfect the way he created them to be. And in this issue, you finally get to see all the New Warriors unite with each other for the first time in the series. Which finally, it took, you know, 4 issues for them to come together. The art style is inside the book is done very well. The artist in this book is Marcus 2. And Christopher Yost is the writer. So if you're familiar with Kane, and if you read, you know, Scarlet Spider, you're going to see that he's very angry in this series. And he's almost too angry. It's kind of almost like a turnoff for me, where it focuses so heavily on Kane's anger that it's a distraction from the book. And I kind of don't like that because he just doesn't fit in with these New Warriors. So somehow he's got to learn to integrate himself into this team, because right now he's just totally against being on this team. So in the end of the issue, you wind up seeing that our New Warriors, yes, they prevail against the High Evolutionary, and it really was due to Sun Girl. She was the one that shined in the book. Sunshine. Ah! Am I funny? So anyway, in the end, they prevail. They wind up becoming this team. And we get to see that the next story evolves around dogs and cats living together. Where does that go? I don't know. After reading this first story arc, it was nice to see the New Warriors back. There's some elements in here that has the classic series like Justice and Nova, you know, and things like that, and Speedball. And I like the artwork because it's kind of similar as well. But then there's other elements in here that are is not quite meshing together. Like Kane is just not going together in here. And I feel that the new character, what's her Snake, Water Snake, same thing, not too much with her. And I can see Arcely, which is Hummingbird, fitting in the series quite well too. But again, Water Snake and Scarlet Spider, they're just the standouts for me. And this new guy, Haiichi, or however you say his name, they're the kind of standouts in here. But after reading this first story arc, I thought maybe they could have done something different by putting the High Evolutionary in here. Something that I think fits New Warriors better. And with that being said, then I'm going to give this a 3 out of 5 stars. Hopefully the next story arc will be better. Okay, so next, moving on, we're going to go on to number 10. So top 10, number 10 is Green Lantern issue number 31. This starts the whole new thing of Uprising. New story arc takes place in Green Lantern Corps and in Green Lantern. Now, this story was actually probably one of the best Green Lantern stories I've read in a while. That not being said, though, that's not saying too much because Green Lantern's been really, really bad. And, you know, in this particular issue, you get to see the Khund and the Doorlands, which are the shapeshifter creatures, wind up going into this huge battle with Hal Jordan and his Green Lantern Corps. The artwork by Billy Tan has been solid, you know, within the issue, and in the series too when he does do it. And this story really focuses about willpower and the will of Hal Jordan and him going against, you know, these Durlands. And we find out that these Durlands mimicked all these Green Lanterns, and the rings were being worn on these fake Green Lanterns. So after Hal Jordan figured out what happened, all these fake Green Lanterns were destroyed, and the rings are going back to their original Green Lanterns. But where they're at, we have no idea, and we're yet to be determined to see what happens with all that. So it was really interesting. So you get to see all the rings going back to where they were. But with that being said, however, as poor as Green Lantern has been, and since I would have to pick up Green Lantern Corps at this time to read this entire story, I will not be reading Green Lantern and Green Lantern Corps, you know, during this whole Uprising event. I feel that it's too much money to invest right now, especially with all the, you know, the 3 weekly titles that are coming out. We got 1 left to come out. The events with Original Sin. You got the Doomed Superman story. There's a lot being read right now, and so with that being said, I can't just deal with an average event here. So once this is over with, I will pick up Green Lantern again. I'm not totally dropping Green Lantern. I just can't find myself investing $6 more a month into this probably overall average event in the Green Lantern universe. And if there's something else, if you guys think it's great, just let me know in the comments, and maybe I'll pick it back up again. So after reading it, though, I did give it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. All right, so going forward, we're going to go on to number 9. And number 9 today was Earth number 2, Earth 2 issue number 23. And this had to deal with really Superman and Red Tornado in this particular issue. Excuse me. However, I didn't feel that there was much progression on this story, and it didn't get me as excited as other issues. This really kept kind of fillerish issue. At the end of the last issue, you got to see Red Tornado, which is Lois, and you get to see Superman. And Superman kind of comes to his senses here real quick. And Lois talks to Clark in this issue, and you know, tells him to put Val down. And you know, Clark is like, "Oh, you're not supposed to see me this way." And you get to see him fight his parademons at first, and you're just like, "Holy shit, what's going on?" You know, is he truly, you know, changing back or whatever? And then all of a sudden, you wind up seeing, you know, he comes back and he winds up taking Lois back to his parents' house. and you get to see the return of Alan Scott, Green Lantern, in this Earth 2 book, which was nice to see him again because he takes care of these parademons, truly. And then in the issue, you get to see a lot of interaction between, you know, Dark Superman and the Kents, and they're just kind of like, what's going on here? You know, they're seeing their boy as Dark Superman, and they're seeing Lois as like this android, so they're kind of just like, they're kind of lost for words, which I thought was kind of funny. And then the rest of the issue, you really get to see, you know, parademons and warhounds and coming through the Batcave, excuse me, and going through all this stuff, and you get to see them that they have to get out of there before the whole place explodes. And that's kind of like how the end of the issue happened. This wasn't really a jaw-dropping issue like the past issues were. And, you know, so on that note, you know, I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. The artwork in this book is actually is pretty good, you know, overall. And it's a solid series. So there's never a bad issue ever since Tom Taylor has taken it over. You know, however, this just seemed a little bit filler for me. So hold on one second. I got a quick text. Okay, so moving forward, we're going to go on to number 8. And number 8 is Batman Eternal issue number 5. So this is our 5th Batman Eternal book. Of course, it comes out every week, in case you don't know that by now. Scott Snyder is the mastermind behind all of this. And in this issue, I like the issue because of the character elements in there. But however, it really had nothing to do with anything that's been going on in the main story or the first 4 issues of Batman Eternal. And that's kind of why this dropped in the midway point of my list this week. And not that it was horrible, but if you're a fan of Red Robin and Timothy Drake in this series, you're gonna happy to see him here because you know, he's in character. He's not with the Teen Titans. And then if you're a fan of Harper Row, or you're gonna like that too, and you get to see that there's this technovirus, or this virus, or whatever, nanovirus, that's taking over these kids. And that's what I didn't kind of like. I didn't like the real story that was involved here. And you know, also Vicky Vale is in this issue too, and you get to see her tenacity on getting an article or a report done based off of all the gangs in Gotham. So you get to see her interactions in here, which I thought was nice. And but the main bulk of this story, where it had to do with this virus thing, I really didn't like. You get to see, you know, Red Robin deal with that, and again, it wasn't like the best story for me in the world here. You get to see these gangbangers go after Vicky Vale, and you get to see Harper basically save their life, and it was okay. Again, I thought it was middle ground. I thought the artwork was okay, and I didn't even realize who these people were until Jay from Frontline actually reminded me that it was from Batman Zero Year. So again, I thought it was okay. It was a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Wasn't the best Batman Eternal book that I've read so far. I would say that story-wise, it was my least favorite, but it wasn't my least favorite art-wise. The last issue was my least favorite art-wise. But I want to see him get back on the Commissioner Gordon's thing. I don't want them to do so many filler issues where you're just waiting for the main story to come back. So, yeah, 3.5 out of 5 stars. All right, so moving forward, we're going to go on to our number 7 book of the week. And our number 7 book is another digital book. And that comes to, what it's called, Nailbiter. This is, what the heck happened to my thing? Yeah. So nail biter is what it's called, and my Nook is acting up, so I apologize for that. Maybe I can get it back up again. Yeah, it's not working right. Anyway, that's kind of what the cover looks like. Yeah, this book was kind of weird. It's all about this serial killer who has this infatuation about people biting his nails. That's me. And if he finds out that you bite your nails, he'll hold you captive, okay? And he'll wait for the nails to grow back, and then he'll chew on them until he eats them to the bone and until you die. This is disgusting. This is so gross. So anyway, we get to see in the issue about where this guy comes from. He comes from his nickname is called the Buckaroo Butcher, and excuse me, the thing is not working right. But he's called the Buckaroo Butcher, and he resides in this town called Buckaroo, Oregon. And it's this small town where all these crazy type of serial killers that have come from. And it's a total of about 16 of them. And there's this shop that's made to make money based off of these serial killers. This owner wants to do this horror convention to get people into town, and the whole thing of it is this cop winds up going over to the town to investigate to find out where this guy actually lives, and when he gets to this town, he finds out that his partner is missing, and he teams up with another cop, and they're trying to find his partner, and they knock on the door, and you find out that it's the Buckaroo Butcher, the nail biter guy, that got acquitted from the trial, and he's holding this this axe or whatever, his butcher's axe, and it looks like he's cooking up his partner in his pot. Some crazy stuff, dude. There's some sick stuff, but I did find it entertaining, and you know, I found it entertaining, and we'll see what happens. I'll be reading the next issue, and I gave that one a 3.5 out of 5 stars. All right, so moving forward, we're going to go on to number 6. And number 6 this week was The Amazing Spider-Man Learning to Crawl, issue number 1.1. This kind of takes place, of course, between Amazing Spider-Man 1 and number 2. And this takes place, obviously, after Uncle Ben's shooting, like right after his shooting or after his death. And you get to see good old Peter Parker, the way he would make his money at the time, being in show business and doing all kinds of interviews and talk shows, because he's got to make money for Aunt May. I like the artwork here. It reminds me of just classic feel Spider-Man. Him being bullied by, Flash Thompson, and you get to see, I think it was, who was it in here? Was it Gwen Stacy? Or no, it was Liz Allen was the one that invited him to a party. So you get to see, old characters like that, in their younger days. And then you get to see Clayton, which is this kid here, who goes out and wants to be like Spider-Man. And, he winds up creating tech just like him and all those types of things. And so, again, it was a fun read. It was great to see, that aspect of Peter in his young days and trying to help Aunt May. And it was just an exaggerated story of Peter Parker's younger days. And the big thing, though, that you get out of that is that you get this, this other version of Spider-Man that is known as Clash. So I don't know. We'll see where he fits in the Spider-Man universe, but I have a feeling now he's going to be in Spideyverse. So after reading this, this is a fun read, pretty solid, and I'm going to give this one a 3.5 out of 5 stars, and that was number 6. All right, so moving on to top 5. Number 5, we're going to go on to New 52's Future End, issue number 1. I thought this book jumped around a little bit too much for an opening issue. Really, I guess the opening issue was issue number 0. If you read that, that was on Free Comic Book Day, how you get to see Batman Beyond, Terry McGinnis jump back into the, he has to go back to the past to try to stop this brother's eye. And that was the issue 0. In this issue, you get to see him go back in time, but he was supposed to go back 35 years in time, not 30, because it was based off of Bruce Wayne's specifications. So now he has to figure out how to stop this brother's eye virus or whatever it is being 5 years too late. So he has to start from square one again. So he has got to make new allies. He's got to find people that are going to work with him. And so, you see a couple pages of that, and then all of a sudden you get to see Stormwatch in here. Their ship winds up blowing up, and you're kind of like, dude, what's going on? So their ship blows up, and then you get to see a couple pages of, here's the ship right here. I guess that's the Brother's Eye virus, or it may be making its approach. Who knows? That's left a mystery. Then you get introduced to the Grifter, because obviously the Grifter is going to be a main character in this whole series. So you kind of get to see a little bit what he does, but you don't know too much about him. So hopefully we get to know him more as a character. I thought the artwork was pretty good in this issue. I thought it was fun. And then you get to see the part in the book I didn't like. This was about Firestorm and how Jason and Raymond don't get along together, and they wind up becoming late to a specific distress call that Green Arrow was sending to them. And they get in this argument, and they waste a lot of time, and they're supposed to go to the distress signal, and you find out that this place all comes to rubble, and there's a couple of casualties. They save a couple of lives, but in the end, they wind up losing the most important thing of all, I think, in this one of this series, and that is Green Arrow. And he's dead. And I was pissed when I found out about this. This is Green Arrow with the beard and everything, and I'm just like, dude, you gotta be freaking kidding me. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Hopefully he comes back to life, because I don't want to see Green Arrow dead already, so it leaves you with a cool cliffhanger. It jumps around a little bit. I didn't like the whininess so much with Firestorm and the fighting and the arguing. But it was a solid issue, and I am going to be reading each and every one. So with that being said, I'm going to give Future's End number 1 3.5 out of 5 stars, really close to that 4-star mark. All right, so going forward, we're going to go to number 4. And number 4 is Green Arrow issue number 31. This wraps up the Outsiders War. This is part 6, and it's known as Spoils of War. And this kind of was like an abruptly, it kind of just ended all of a sudden. It just kind of like hurry up ended, and we're already jumping on to the next storyline. And that's what I didn't like about this issue. I wanted it to take its time, maybe even do one more issue to really get a solid close here. You get to see Ollie's dad. He got shot in the heart. He dies, and it was expected that he was going to die in this issue. And we find out that this arrow that they were fighting for, it has some, I guess, some magical powers, because it sees everything. Really cool artwork here that I enjoyed. This was a great page. It's a dark book, but there's some fantastic art elements in here. You get to see Katana and Onyx really fight over this. The Fist clan, which is supposedly the strongest clan out of them all. And you get to see a quick battle between them, Onyx and Katana, and Katana winds up prevailing by just, taking care of her hands and everything else. You find out that Shadow and Amiko wind up talking with each other. It took like 2 panels to convince her that her dad is evil and that she's going to go after her father. And what's it called? And then the next thing you find out is that Komodo winds up getting shot right from Amiko. And it's kind of a fitting ending. I mean, it kind of makes sense after how much of a dick he was to his daughter the whole time. Really great art page here. Really enjoyed that. After that, though, it kind of really wraps everything up. And Ollie just kind of like has enough with everything. He's just like, no more fighting, none of this. We're going to do our own thing. You're going to do your own thing. Magus, you go on your own thing. But if I see you again, I'm going to kill you. And it's just like, holy crap, they overload you with it. And no one's getting this arrow. And you're just like, damn, dude. I'm like, Ollie's had enough of this shit. And then the next thing it goes on to is right away it's going on to the next story. And it has to go back to Seattle, and it has to deal with Dragon. And you got what's it called? What's his name? You got Diggle in here. You got Naomi, and you got Henry, and they're the ones doing, I guess, starting the next project. And you see Diggle get set up, which is expected, and now they're going to go up against Richard Dragon. You get to see him go against Count Vertigo, Brick, Killer Moth, and Red Dart. I think this might be a really good story as well. I just thought that it's kind of rushed into it. You know, I would have loved them to see them finish up this book, this particular issue at least. Give me another 3-4 pages of this story, and then just write, you know, The Broken Arrow Begins or something like that. I don't know. I just felt it was a little bit rushed. But overall, The Outsiders War was a fantastic read. And Green Arrow is just, again, night and day compared to the way it was in the past. So my hat's off to you, Jeff Lemire, for doing a great story here. And this got a 4 out of 5 stars for me. So moving on, we're going to go on to top 3, number 3. And number 3 was Grim Fairy Tales issue number 97. This book was great. This introduced the Tooth Fairy. Grim Fairy Tales is always about bringing you know, fables, myths, legends into their universe. They never brought the Tooth Fairy into this universe, and now they have. And it's cool because you get to see her introduction into this universe on what she is. And ironically here, she's a dentist. That's her, and she's named Gwen. And, you know, you get to see the introduction on what she does. She helps this little girl. This little girl's mom doesn't give a crap about her. Really interesting to see. And, you know, Gwendolyn is a tooth fairy. And, yes, she collects teeth. But, however, her curse against her is that she loves the smell of bones and she hungers for them. So what she does is she winds up killing people to eat their bones. And knowing that she found out about this little girl's mom and how evil she was, once she collected her tooth, she left her a ton of money and wound up skinning the parents alive, and she winds up eating all their bones, which is crazy stuff, so she can feed and hunger. But in this issue, she gets introduced to the Dark Queen winds up finding her and winds up manipulating her for doing things that she shouldn't be doing. And she promises the Tooth Fairy to give her powers back. But it was all a trick in the end, and it really was for her to do her bidding and to get these Blood Knights back and to get this Blood Dragon back and to help control the realms, which is Mist, Oz, Earth, and Neverland. So really interesting stuff. The artwork is solid in this book. Really dark, really gruesome at times. It's great to see their take on the Tooth Fairy in this universe, and they did a good job at integrating her in the universe as well. So after reading this, I gave Grim Fairy Tales issue number 97 4.5 out of 5 stars. All right, so number 2 of this week goes to Original Sin issue number 1. Really enjoyed this issue, guys. I got the variant cover here. Trying to remember who did this actual variant cover, which I'm not going to spend time searching for. But I love this cover. I love Magic on it. I love the way she's positioned and holding the sword. Thor in the background, Eye is in the corner, the paneling in the back. Enjoy it. It's beautiful. I love it. This book is really good. And I'm not going to go into a whole walkthrough with it. But it's got a great cast of characters in here. It's got like your old Avengers, you know, even Nick Fury in here. So if you're old school Nick Fury fan, he makes his return in here. I thought the artwork was nice. I thought it was beautifully done, especially his opening page of the Moon and the Watcher, and especially the Watcher's murder scene when he gets killed in here. I thought it was an interesting take on that. Like, look at that. That's fantastic. This book really provides a murder type of book and a mystery that's inside of it. And it provides something different. You know, we've seen Avengers vs. X-Men. We've seen X-Men events. We've seen Avenger events. We get to see the world being taken over. And, you know, but you never really known too much about the Watcher. And now the Watcher's been murdered. So you got to find out who killed the Watcher, what happened to him, who's behind everything, who took his freaking eyeballs. And as a reader, you're left in a mystery as well. And you get to see the teams being assembled. You get to see, the clues coming together. And I thought it was a well planned out book. And if you take your time and you read it, you're going to really enjoy it. You get to see these creatures called the mindless ones that are evolving because of what happened with the Watcher. And then at the end, you get to see, again, these the people behind the whole crime, but you're not sure on who they actually are. So I thought this was a fun read. I thought it was interesting, and I really can't wait to see where this goes. And again, you get to see different characters in here. So if Marvel does this right, this could be one of their best events in a long time. And I definitely recommend this book. It was great having the mystery involved in this story and the time that they're putting together these teams and the investigations and things like that. So after reading this, I gave this one a 4.5 out of 5 stars. So what is my number one book of the week? My number one book of the week goes to Miles Morales, The Ultimate Spider-Man, issue number 1. This book hasn't lost a beat, guys. This book is right where it left off. Brian Michael Bendis is on this book. Dave Marquez is the writer of this book. And this gets number 1 pick just because it continues exactly where it left off and what makes Ultimate Comics Spider-Man the way it is. You get great facial expressions in the book. You get great character interactions in this book. You feel their story through their eyes. It's beautiful, beautiful. And in this issue, you get to see Miles Morales really struggling with him and Katie Bishop. If he should tell her the secret or not. If he's Spider-Man, and you get to see Miles go to Mary Jane and ask for that advice because Mary Jane and Peter were together. And he said, well, how did you and Peter handle this? Did everything work out? Was it easy for you? So he tried to get, interaction, he tried to get questions and try to get answers that way. In the issue, you get to find out that S.H.I.E.L.D. is no longer really around, so they don't have responsibility for Norman Osborn. And you find out that he's alive in the issue, which I thought was interesting too. You get these Spider-Man twin impersonators, which you really don't know who they are. They're just causing menaces in the actual streets. And then also in the issue as well, by the time you get to the end of it, we get to see that Miles is going back to his apartment, seeing if his dad is there, because his dad just kind of left, or he thinks that he might be dead because of the whole Galactus incident about a lot of people dying when Galactus was trying to consume the Earth. And he keeps going back to the apartment too, saying, "Dad, are you there?" Because he also told his dad his secret, and his dad didn't like the secret. So each night or each day he comes back, and this time as he comes around back to his apartment, he finds Peter Parker. And you're like, holy crap, Peter Parker. But at the end of the last issue, you did get to see a shadow of somebody. And there was lots of speculation saying that it was Peter Parker or Peter Parker's clone or whatever the case. So in my opinion, I feel that this is not Peter Parker. I feel that it's a clone. I just don't see him just wandering around miscellaneous in an apartment going, hey, can I have my stuff back? So I can get back in the game. I just don't see him being that way. Especially since they changed the title called Miles Morales, The Ultimate Spider-Man, issue number 1. But we're going to see where that whole thing goes. But based off of the story that was presented here, the character moments, the facial expressions, the artwork, the cliffhanger, everything made this a complete issue this week. And it's just reinstates that Ultimate Comics Spider-Man is the best comic that Ultimate Comics has outgoing for them. And they were smart not to change a single thing about the series. And that's why I got number 1 pick of the week. And that's why I got 5 out of 5 stars. So guys, there you have it. There is the countdown for the week. You've seen the worst, you've seen the best. Now, guys, leave me your comments below on what your favorite comic book of the week was, what your worst comic book of the week was. And guys, this has been the Countdown, episode number 60. So until the next comic book review, this is Mike Spider Slayer signing off. And guys, thanks for watching. Take care, everyone. See you soon. Bye.